Hi everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's clip on how to use the Armaid and do self-care at home. Terry was kind enough to mail us his invention, the Armaid, designed just for climbers and their injury treatment protocol. What is this thing and how does it work, and how can we use it to its best advantage? There are many different benefits for doing your own self-care. One of those being, as we get these muscles to relax and work with us, we're going to be able to climb better, harder, stronger, longer. We're going to have more endurance in our muscles. And the reason why this is as your muscles contract and relax, we want to make sure that they are at their longest length. So when you're crimping, you're contracting these muscles, and if they're already as contracted as they can possibly get, then there's very little space for them to contract even more. So the biggest goal is to get those muscles as loose and as limber as possible so you can have a maximum contraction when you request those muscles to contract for you. Not only will they contract stronger, but they're also going to contract quicker, and you have better control over how much of that muscle fires. If that muscle is already 80% contracted, the problem is that it can only contract so much more before your brain tells it, whoa, there could be a major injury here, don't contract. So that is a little bit of the brain telling the body with motor control how much that muscle is allowed to contract. So these pain signals tell our body, is it safe to use the muscle, is it not safe to use the muscle? But also there's the brain's memory of how injured it became last time you climbed, and what are the risks of it getting re-injured at today's climbing. So if you're on the wall and you feel a twinge in the muscle, and you take the day off and you go back to climb the next day, how likely is your muscle to remember what happened to it and for you to accidentally guard against it happening again subconsciously without you even knowing it? So that's where motor control and trying to get the brain to stop being involved in our muscles' contractions. We want it to be primal. We want it to be very moment of how much contracts, how flexible am I. We have to be able to do this on the fly. We can't just go out and try to climb and have our brain second guessing everything that we try to do with our arms. It's just not going to work. So that's where the Armaid comes in. Just one piece of a self-care tool. There's all different types of tools of all different price ranges. The one that Terry sent me is, I believe it starts out at $70, and it comes with one apparatus that it locks in here. So how does this sucker work? So let's go ahead and talk about it. So there's a nifty little clip that clips onto your leg. That way you can try to relax as much as you can, relaxing the arm as we're working with the Armaid. There is a rubber band on the top. This piece of rubber bands, for someone like me with small forearms, this rubber band, I don't have to take it apart because I can do all the rolling without having to separate it. I've had a bunch of guys in my office trying it out. And yeah, you guys have bigger arms than we do. You win. So we have to open the Armaid up to be able to put enough pressure on there. So talking anatomy, there are different areas of muscle. In all of our previous episodes, we've talked about all of the flexors attach right down in here on this little bony knob there. So this one is the olecranon process. That one actually folds into the other bone. It's like it goes into its little cup here. So this bony part here, little elbow, boop, nothing really attaches to there. Over to here, well, our tricep attaches there. Yeah. Anyway, on the inside, all of our flexors attach onto that one. So when we're armaiding, our goal is to first kind of poke in here and evaluate how tight those muscles are. And a good evaluation is when you push on those muscles, your fingertips shouldn't be contracting. So go ahead and look at my fingertips and watch me push my different muscle groups. See how my pinky comes out to the side on that one? It's probably what that muscle does, okay? Then we're going to go onto the top and we're going to push around in here, all these different areas, and we're looking to see how tight those muscles are. So if you're pushing with your finger, and some of you guys, when I push your fingers, are doing this type of thing, whoa, that's a huge risk of injury, right? So we want that muscle that when you push, it's not so tight, it's going to be contracting up on us. Okay, so I want you to kind of go in and see where, one, where your sore spots are, two, where you push and those muscles are going to make those fingers move because they're so tight, and three, anything that kind of feels like a good sore when you push on it. That's where we're going to focus, okay? So get your Armaid out. This little white clip here if you pull it out, let me see if I can get close here. If you pull that little clip out, boop, that allows us to pull the Armaid apart. So I'm going to pull this piece down and then pulling it out. So there's one piece. So I'm going to use the piece that the Armaid came with, this guy. So first you insert it on the bottom, then you fold this sideways and clip it in. And once it clips all the way in, then you finally insert the last little piece to lock it in there. The Armaid comes with a couple of these just in case you tear it or break it, but hopefully that's not the case. So our goal is I want you to not only get the front of your forearm in here, but I also want you to get the back of your forearm, and I also want you to get the inside and the outside. So with the Armaid, get creative. We can use it very gently with the thumb up, and then we can also use it with the thumb down. So I want you to go through and find those areas that are tight and sore, and if you find a knot, you can hold that knot and then maybe move your wrist back and forth. This is holding the skin down, and it's gliding the muscle under the skin. So if you have adhesions or bits of scar tissue that are sticking the muscle to the skin or sticking the fascia to the muscle, we can break all of that apart. I'm just about to get a diagnostic ultrasound machine here at the office, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to look at those layers of skin and to see underneath the skin if it's stuck and gliding, and we're going to cover that in upcoming episodes. But essentially we'll ultrasound in here and I'll have you move your wrist and we'll look and see how are those skin layers gliding. If they're not gliding, that's where Armaid comes in, or that's where using a tennis ball or doing some assisted stretching with your fingers in here, stretching those fibers apart. We don't want everything adhered together in there. And again, it gets adhered from climbing dehydrated, pushing yourself too hard without training. What other things could make it? Pushing yourself above and beyond where that muscle is willing to climb that day. There's all different options as to why you could be getting these knots. But we have, your computer, yada yada. So the biggest thing, let's get these things nice and loose and flexible. So with the Armaid, the biggest important thing to remember with this is if you are compressing and pushing towards your hands, that is damaging your veins. Your veins have one-way valves, so arteries, the heart pumps the blood from the heart out to the extremities, so there's pressure behind it. The opposite direction are the veins, which bring the blood back up to the heart. There's not really any pressure behind that. So how the system works is there's a bunch of one-way valves, so you move your hand and the motion pumps that used blood that has used all of its oxygen and now it has waste in it. It's pumping it up towards the heart. And so the one-way valves kind of sit like this. So as the blood is being pumped up towards the heart, those one-way valves open up, and then when you stop moving, they shut. So when you are using a roller or you're massaging downwards, you are really pressuring those one-way valves, you can damage them, okay? So I really push you to, when you use this, to only roller towards the heart, release the weight, roller towards the heart. This is true for all body parts, not just the forearm, okay? So with this, we are going to roll. So I will start it right at the wrist, and then I will slowly roll up towards the heart, and then I will just discontinue and come back this way, just to make sure from a medical standpoint. Then we can go the other direction, get in here and go the other way, and then we can lock it and start doing these wrist stretches and back. Wrist stretches. If you have any traveling pain, if you feel it in your hands, or if it goes up in your shoulder, just hold that spot. Just breathe through it. It should let go, and then when it lets go, you're done. We can also swap and do the opposite side. So we've done thumb up, we've done thumb down, but that's all with the roller. On this side, make sure you do both hands. So then the other direction, going the other way on the other guy. One of my favorites I've found is to do thumb down and to really get into the supinator muscle, pronator teres muscle, which attaches in here on the forearm and is responsible for this motion. Okay, we need to get that guy to let go. Supinator's on the back side. This little guy here crosses like that, and his whole goal is to open up the hand. He goes the other direction. So if you're feeling wrist pain in there, we can poke in those muscles and see. But if it feels tight, if it's tender to the touch, if it even feels good to push on it, probably needs some work. So, all right, so there's that one. Another one that I'm a big fan of pull this guy out, swap over to this one. He has a bunch of different attachments for it. He has the big round ball, which is great for getting in there on the really thick muscles and working those. And then he also has, just like the white ones, he's got rubber ones that are a little bit more grabby and they're a little bit softer. Not that much softer, but a little bit softer. So try those out. I do love this one for getting the lactic acid out of there. And then also for, let me see if I can get this bugger together, for getting the muscles on the inside and the outside of the arm. Most of my patients that use a foam roller, you guys forget to get the inside in here and the outside up there. What's the tightest muscle that we get on you guys? Up here, right? Those things really start to ache. Yeah, this aches most definitely, but people usually forget their home care on the top, this big guy. So I want you to pinch it. If it doesn't feel soft and loose and flexible, this guy needs some work, okay? So let's do thumb out, get in there on that guy, and then swap it thumb in, so we're getting both rollers, and just kind of focus on the little tiny guy that goes to your pinky. He runs right up the outside of the bone, so trace that bone with your finger. You can get right along it, and then just in front of the bone, you might find a little twangy guy. All these guys need to let go, okay? If you hit anything that's nerve-like, if it sends a lightning shot of pain down the arm, or if you have numbness working on it, really try to avoid those little spots because there are nerves in here. So if you're freaking out, am I on a nerve? Why not look up anatomy? Look up the ulnar nerves on the inside. Look up the median nerve. Look up the radial nerve so you know where they are, so you don't compress those guys. So once again, we're rolling towards the heart. And we're just gently pushing, and we can do a gentle side-to-side motion. So I'm going to be pushing against this one, getting the inside, and I'm just gently moving my hand to the outside. So pushing in, and then ulnar deviating, moving towards the pinky side, and just pushing up. So just something gentle. Diagnostic ultrasound shows that just 1 minute of doing this type of an activity can definitely change what's happening underneath the skin. So instead of all those layers of muscle being stuck together, all of a sudden they're moving along the gradients that they should be moving on. So instead of the skin and the muscle underneath, and you say, move your arm, and it's all stuck together and not that much is moving, once we get in there and break that apart and I say, move your arm, they really start to glide nicely along each other with less friction. So we'll show that in upcoming episodes. So that is the Armaid. Thank you so much, Terry, for sending that over. Pretty cool little device. With all the attachments, I believe they sell right for about 90 to 100 bucks, and then with just this attachment, I believe they are 70. So sooner than later, we're going to have a little store up, and we'll be offering those for sale, or you can get them from your local distributor. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.